Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be here today on behalf of my team, Meaghan, Wester and Maurice Jones, who unfortunately couldn't come today. I will be presenting our paper on curation as research creation that explores the critical possibilities of CRC in the development of artistic events. Before I start, I just wanted to contextualize a little bit this work that is part of Maurice Jones' broader PhD project. Also, as we come from different disciplinary background, what brought us together is a common interest in public participation and governance. While we were designing this project, we asked ourselves, how can festivals be collective sites of meaning making in a time of political, environmental, and social uncertainty? So there was a lot of overlaps with the different presentation before, and sorry in advance, our use case was festivals and not a museum or exhibition, but still I used an example that I think can relate to both words. So I'll just go overview some context with what I think is a good illustration that is a little extreme, but I'll show it to you in a moment. And then I'll focus more on the main expertise of our paper, that is the Fast Forward workshop series. So as we start this presentation, I wanted to do a little detour with a personal experience I had in 2016 at the Palais de Tokyo here in Paris. Imagine you enter this building, this really traditional art building that was built in the mid-30s for the Exposition Universelle of 1937. And while you are entering this museum, instead of having art displays, painting, text, where you can read about the artistic process, you only had white walls and empty rooms. And instead of having art displays, there were more than 300 actors that were doing situation or performance in the rooms. So that was Tino Sehgal exhibition called Carte Blanche. So, of course, I'm not asking to do exhibition with more than 300 actors. That would cost a lot of money. And as I learned from before, museums love to have objects. But I think this exhibition is interesting in the way it links with CRC and in the way that it decentralizes the focus on mere objects of art and aesthetic displays to an exhibition that focuses on social interaction, spontaneity, and the blurring borders between what is the art and who is the spectator. For us, this destabilizing experience creates an environment to enact co-creation and collective meaning-making. And this is done with three ways and three concepts that I will elaborate now a little bit more. So the idea of blurred boundaries switch the attention to the content to, as Starr and Griesenmer puts it, concrete or abstract objects that structure interdisciplinary inquiry. In the article, we develop more this concept of boundary object, that is a way to invite or to prompt the participant to ask him to jointly explore throughout the unfolding of the event. So it's, instead of being seen as a content, the exhibition or the festival is now seen as a process. Indeed, whereas a traditional Western exhibition room encourages specific engagement formats and also specific ways of performing or viewing the exhibition, in CRC we propose to address these normatively laden spaces such as Tino Sehgal reinterpretation of the Palais de Tokyo, by inhabiting them in unconventional ways. So this creates new trajectories for the public engagement. And last but not least, what is interesting in Segal exhibition is the disappearance of the actor, of the artist or the creator. So while traditionally there is a centrality of the creator or the artist in the development of an exhibition, but also in the unfolding of it, CRC proposes to address a shift, a change, with the idea of co-curation that complexified the exhibition by introducing methods of exchange that lead people from different backgrounds to come together in joint exploration of ideas and thus fundamentally questioning traditional museological values. So back to our case, and with these three ideas in mind, we designed a workshop that invited curators, artists, festival makers and the public to reflect on how they could build a festival that integrated this collective process and this collective idea of making meaning collectively. The workshop series was aimed to rethink the ideation process of festival and imagine desirable future festival that would tackle difficult social issues. Of course, at the time of the designing of the project and the workshop, there was an excitement of getting back to in-person event, especially after this 2 years interruption due to COVID. And while this long-awaited excitement was to normal, was exciting for the artistic scene, the return to normal was also threatening to mask existential questions that we were facing and that we are still facing. And with the workshop series, we wanted to address these issues by provoking the audience with what is called wicked questions that are constructed around paradox. So for example, the first one, how can future festival address climate change while also flying hundreds of people? So that was discussed also this morning. This is a really problematic question, especially for me that comes from Montreal for a 10-minute talk here in front of you. So these provocating questions were aimed to launch discussion and were used as prompt to collectively reflect on desirable futures for festival in relation also to their contemporary material, infrastructural and economic realities. Provoking the audience with wicked questions constructed around paradox and to guide the discussions, we built a method that was supposed to be open enough to let the door to appropriation, but also structured enough to be inclusive. Here we use what is called the liberating structure toolkit. So, for instance, the 1 to 4 developed in a way to attuned the silence of people in larger group that cannot explain what they want to say because they feel not safe. So this is really important because it creates space for participants to navigate in their own reflexivity. And what emerged from those discussions were aimed to co-create media article on the desired festival. And the focus for us was more on the process of writing and collectively reflecting on what was the right future for their own festival. And in the end, each group appropriated the proposed methodology in a different way. And if some did follow the methodology, so there was Group A that was very democratic, very self-organized, Group B also followed the structure, etc. But ironically, some didn't and went totally rogue, using ChatGPT to do the exercise for them and to explain how festival makers failed to detect their own festival. which leads us to the conclusion. So in this presentation, I went over an example of how a traditional exhibition place could be deconstructed, and be turned into a place where participants could interact more and build their own trajectory. And by creating boundary objects, we saw that there is different trajectories that are available for us to develop new experiences. So in conclusion, we think that CRC has important transforming capabilities, and we are eager to hear from you also how you can use this shift or this paradigm shift to help you with your different practices and event making. Thank you.
Is there any questions?
Could you just explain a bit again what would be the boundary object and what is its role in determining trajectory for a spectator or spectators if there is some interaction between them? And thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. So, for example, in Tino Segal experience, there was this black room where you enter and it's totally silent, but still inside you can play and interact with the different elements. So, for instance, there was someone starting to say a story, and you maybe could continue it or stop it, etc. So the idea of a boundary object is kind of this room, this black room, this space that has specific borders, but that is open enough and can be turned into a prompt or a provocation to interact or to be part of a story. So for us, the idea of boundary object was in the workshop those wicked questions. So they are ways of having the attention of the public, if you want, yeah. But also, this is a multidisciplinary exercise, and of course, there are other writers, and we came from our different discipline and perspective. So if you have more questions on that, we can do a follow-up on mail with them. Yeah. Thank you so much for your attention.